Welcome to the Everything Is Earned podcast. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Tim, your co-host.
And we're here to break down everything happening in your Cleveland sports world, which right now is not a whole lot. We are currently in this quarantine during this pandemic. Everyone's losing it just a little bit, and sports and Cleveland sports in particular are keeping us sane and giving us something to talk about.
We're keeping us sane by just a thread here. Cleveland sports, that's it.
We're just on the edge. It got just enough of the 2016 NBA championship to keep us afloat. And luckily, there's been plenty of highlights and retelling of different moments of the title for us to stay locked in and not completely lose it.
Yeah, and then we have the free agency going on.
Yeah, thank goodness for the NFL for keeping free agency on.
And the draft as well.
Because things started to get real dicey there for a second as far as the sports world is concerned. And then free agency hit, and it was crazy. A lot of things happened right off the get-go. The Browns made some great moves, and we have some things to talk about as far as what the Browns are going to look like during this next NFL season.
Well, Kevin Stefanski and I think Andrew Bailey has done a great job of teaming up and really filling gaps while maintaining cap flexibility. That's something that, for all the credit everyone, all the fans give to John Dorsey, that's something he did not do well. I think Andrew Bailey is learning a little bit from his past mistakes from his first time here in Cleveland, and I think he's understanding that this squad with the new head coach and trying to fill these pieces back in and get Baker Mayfield to back where he was and in good standing and good confidence and that quality mindset. It's going to take a little bit to get back to that.
Yeah, I think Barry has really proven, really quickly at least, to have some legitimate talent at position. Yeah, he's done very well. He's made some very nice moves. I mean, obviously he signs Austin Hooper, who I love. I think he's phenomenal because I'm a Falcons fan as well. You know, don't give me a hard time. I don't want to talk about the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And we won't talk about your Super Bowl loss because I know you're a Rams fan as well. So we're all just going to hate the Patriots together and move on. So Hooper's pretty good. I want to let everyone know that I like Hooper a lot. I think he's a really excellent tight end. But he's not going to be like a crazy playmaker tight end. He's not like a Travis Kelce or like a Gronk or like what's the guy's name who used to play in Seattle who's no longer good anymore?
Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, he's not like a Jimmy Graham.
In New Orleans as well.
He's good, but he does a lot of things very well. He's a great blocker. He is a great pass catcher in the underneath to like intermediate type stuff.
So he does pretty much, and this is why I think David Njoku was so welcoming to Austin Hooper when he first got signed, is because he complements David Njoku. Austin Hooper complements Njoku so well. Everything pretty much that you just described about Austin Hooper is not what Njoku does well. He's more that big play tight end, and everything you described is all the intermediate stuff, all the fundamental stuff. And I think that pairing is going to be very nice in Kevin Stefanski's offense.
This is great, too, because it allows the coaching staff to coach up Njoku. Whereas the last couple years, I would say it's very, very questionable how much coaching actually happened to Njoku and how much actual just like beating down on him and like punishing him unnecessarily happened.
Not even teaching him because he had the job. No question about it. Now you might lose the job. I mean, he runs a lot of 12 personnel, which is that one running back, two tight ends, and they'll be working with each other often. But there's going to be sometimes where there's that one tight end there, and David Njoku is going to have to work and stay locked in if he's going to be in that position during those moments.
I think you're going to get a big improvement from him because I think Stefanski is like the calm in the storm. He is a guy who's going to make the offense very mature and run an actual game plan every single week. We're going to know what it is going into Sunday. We're not going to throw plays out the window. But Stefanski has an offense that is very regimented, and they're not like a big play offense. They do have a big play ability because of the talent that they had with Minnesota, with Diggs and Thielen, and with Cook. But what they do is they kind of grind you out, and they're very disciplined. If you look at the stats that Kirk Cousins has the last couple of years, he went 30-10 for his first year in Minnesota, and then he went 26-6 last year as far as touchdowns to interceptions. And that speaks to an offense that is very dedicated to playing mistake-free football, which in Cleveland will be a breath of fresh air.
Oh, in the past 20 years, yeah, absolutely. That would be the first time we've breathed that fresh air there during that stretch. Do you think Stefanski's gonna be a one-first offense, and then kind of sprinkle OBJ and Njoku and Jarvis and Hooper in there in the passing game?
Absolutely, because I don't think Stefanski's offense requires you to win the game from the quarterback position. Now, Cousins absolutely did that, over the course of his time with Minnesota so far, and he showed up in big games. He made a huge throw last year in the playoffs versus New Orleans.
The game when he won?
No, not the game when he won. The one to Diggs over the middle. It was late in the game. It was a big third down. Hit him over the middle. Big time gain. It was a big time throw, and that's the confidence that that he's instilled in Cousins to do that. But you got to look at what the narrative was for Cousins coming out of the Redskins. He was a quarterback that was good but never really won. He was a quarterback that you don't really think he's gonna maybe be that next level type of quarterback.
And he was one of the few quality quarterbacks coming out of that year, that free agency.
Yeah.
So he's more sought after too.
I personally was like screaming for the Browns to sign Cousins. I thought he was an absolute baller.
You were wrong about that a little bit.
I'm not entirely wrong though, because he's beaten the Saints back-to-back years. One was obviously a call that got blown, but he beat them this year all by himself.
Okay, but Minnesota has had a pretty good defense during those years as well.
Yeah, but they didn't just score 10 points. Like, they put up points. Yeah. And Cousins, look, I mean, if you looked at the stats and didn't look at the player and just said 26-6 or 30-10, would you take that?
Yeah,
100%, absolutely.
Those are the kind of wins we thought we don't have last year.
And that's my point, is you have Baker, who didn't have like a bad year. He didn't have a Cousins type of year where out of the Redskins, but he didn't have a good year by any stretch at all.
Well, it's difficult to do that too when everything that the front office and the coaches are trying to do was against your strengths and stuff. We went full vertical offense. His niche, his bread and butter is that in between game, the slants, the drags, all that stuff underneath. And that's what Stefanski does. He's not, like you mentioned, he's not a big time play out. He'll work you down the field and kind of have a methodical drive and wear your defense out.
One of the things that annoyed me last year about the Browns offense was the fact that they had such success in the RPOs, but they never wanted to call them, or the lack of the play action passes,
yeah.
which is what you should have loaded the offense up with.
I was screaming it all year because I've seen it with the Rams that play out the outside runs and the play action work beautifully. And when you have one of the best backs in the league with Nick Chubb and a very accurate thrower with Baker Mayfield, it just made sense to do more of those. And when they like you said, when they ran the play action, it was very, very successful. And then the in between quarters, the second and third all year, we didn't care about any of those.
It's kind of upsetting that Chubb had such a good year and it went to waste, because you really could have used that to open up the rest of your offense. And it seemed like Chubb was the only offense at times, and he was the only option when you had a stacked offense still with guys like Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. in the offense.
Yeah, you have one of the best receiving crews in the NFL with Sean Higgins not playing at all either when the Joker is healthy. And with Nick Chubb, like you mentioned, Nick Chubb doing so well, you would think that would benefit your passing game. But the problem was, Freddie Kitchen was so they telegraphed everything. You knew what the plays were going to be. You didn't fool any defense because you can blend those running plays in, and then make it even easier for those elite talent receivers.
Freddie also was famous for making plays harder than they had to be, taking situations and making them harder than they had to be.
Or soft plays, like those wide receiver screens in the red zone.
Yeah.
That's
I'm excited for a Stefanski offense, because it's going to be a more traditional NFL offense, and it's going to look like an offense that can score on any possession, and that's what you get. And I think this is the best offense Stefanski is going to be able to coach at this point. I mean, he's got an absolutely stacked roster. I mean, they're bringing Kareem Hunt back again, which is wonderful. They've added Conklin, Jack Conklin, which is a great pickup from free agency, formerly with the Titans.
Tennessee, yeah.
So I mean, he's a Pro Bowler. He's an All Pro. So they're really rounding out that offense here, and hopefully we're gonna go draft a left tackle, or if Trent Williams becomes available because the Redskins can't trade him, I think the Browns can pick him up.
That might be what the Browns are waiting for.
Could be. I love it because you never know what's going to happen between now and draft night. And just to say, players that are no longer wanted on teams are going for ridiculously low prices. I mean, look at Calais Campbell, a 5th round pick. That's all it costs to get Calais Campbell. Like, holy crap! Like people are trading. I mean, look what the Texans settled for on Hopkins. Like, the NFL market's so weird right now, and basically, if you have a 5th rounder or a couple like 5ths and 6ths, you can get a top tier player
that fits
your scheme. Because another team didn't want because of cap space. So,
or you're just seeing these teams that they're going after players or holding off on players that don't have any market, and they're waiting for them to waive and stuff, and then picking them up because there's no trade value on them. For them.
That's true.
They're leaving them with the teams to absorb most of that salary hit and then taking the straps.
I want to pose another question to you because here's something that Andrew Berry is doing that's absolutely opposite of what Dorsey did. Dorsey was really looking for value with troubled character like players. And Andrew Berry has done the absolute opposite. Andrew Berry has only brought in veterans, basically, and proven talent that are great in the locker room. I mean, look he added Claiborne, Super Bowl winner, defensive lineman formerly with the Falcons and the Patriots. Okay. He adds Case Keenum, big time talent at the backup position, and who just goes in and does his job every day.
That's how he stayed in the NFL.
Absolutely.
His work ethic and his presence in the locker room.
I mean, big time ads there.
He's not a Minnesota
guy. The safety, Andrew, what's his name? Andrew, I'm blanking on his name right now.
Carl Joseph.
Carl Joseph. Carl Joseph's not big yet. Another guy who just goes to work and gets the job done. Carl Joseph really reminds me of like a Dante Whitner type of player. Yeah,
he's a big time hitter. He's a TJ Ward, a Dante hitter. He brings that physicality to your secondary. Something with a talent on not exactly physicality, but with all the injuries that we've had, kind of brings that hard hitting presence and be able to dip in the backfield and disrupt plays on the offense from that deep position.
He reminds me also of like a Keanu O'Neal type of player.
Yeah, he's just a tough player.
He's very aggressive.
He plays a very traditionalist side of basketball. He doesn't really care. I wouldn't say he's a dirty player, but he doesn't really care about your feelings or your body, how your body feels.
He's an aggressive football player who I am sure will get some unnecessary roughness calls this coming year. But that's something you're going to have to live with and just accept, because that's the type of brand of football he plays. I'm not saying it's stupid football. I'm saying it's aggressive football.
But he doesn't think twice about what he's doing. When he does it, he's in there full throttle.
Yeah, he's gonna be a hard hitter.
He makes aggressive decisions.
From what I've seen, though, he's not making these illegal hits. He's making big time hits, but he's keeping them legal, which is good.
This is important.
Also, really glad, and I know some people are gonna hate on this. Glad Demarius Randall is gone. Honestly, very sick of him. Sick of his drama last year. Sick of his inability to buy into the team.
Inconsistency.
And his just downward play on the field.
Well, I wanted to bring him back until, like you mentioned, later in the year, where he was giving up on the team. He was trading unnecessary drama, and then this inconsistencies. Like he had some big misses where some teams had some wide open touchdowns because he just read things incorrectly and cost us big plays in crucial situations. Yeah,
I agree with that. And I'm excited that Barry's brought in some veteran talent,
new faces,
and some guys that are going to buy into the team concept and play as a team. I think that's really one of the big changes that Barry's made versus Dorsey. And why we're talking about this is everyone ready to stop crying about Dorsey now. Everyone freaked out for about a good month about how Dorsey was the best thing we've had since sliced bread. And don't get me wrong, I love that he brought in OBJ. I love that he's made some of the moves. I like Baker a lot. I think he made some excellent moves while he was here, but you also got to give him a little bit.
You also missed some.
You also missed some. Particularly the offensive lineman. Who was the guy's name?
Corbett.
Austin Corbett, the guy who never panned out, second round pick, did nothing. Dude was on skates. He reminded me of Cam Irvin, who now has a Super Bowl title, by the way.
You can think of Chad Thomas too. That was a. He's still on the team.
Chad Thomas is a bit of a miss. He played better the second half of the year, but he's still a bit of a miss.
He was a third-round pick. That's a valuable pick.
Yeah, third round, you can still find very good talents in the third round. I don't disagree with you on that one at all. So I think I like the change in direction we're doing. I like the add of the fullback.
Bringing back the fullback. Decent fullback we've had. Lawrence Vickers.
I love Lawrence Vickers, honestly.
He was the best.
He was creating big holes in the offense. I personally, over the years, have ran an I formation in Madden very consistently. It's very much my bread and butter. And to Timmy's demise, for many years now, he's had a very difficult time stopping my I formation. And it's because I have a big old fullback that goes in there, rams ahead, and ends up creating a nice big hole. And when you got guys in the backfield like Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, who was just an absolute animal last year,
and Austin Hooper,
you give him more holes to run through. It's just going to be really great. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, think about that one cut run here against Baltimore that went for 92 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the run that Earl Thomas completely gave up on and just lost his mind.
Yeah, so that one, think about those ones. If you get one bit block, all Nick Chubb is a little bit of breathing room, and then he's got burst and he's gone.
I'll say this too. I didn't realize that Nick Chubb was as fast as he is. When I saw some of his film last year and watched a little bit in the preseason, kind of watched what he was about, I was like, man, this guy's a tough runner. He runs real hard. I like it.
He never goes down.
His vision and his speed absolutely surpassed my expectations.
That acceleration is insane.
The interesting about football is there's a lot of positions where you have to have a learning curve when you come into the NFL, and it takes a while, maybe a year or two, for a player to get acclimated and them to start really producing. Running backs are not that case. Running backs come in the NFL and immediately are impactful.
Well, elite running backs, yes.
Yeah, and Nick Chubb did that over the last couple seasons here, and it's very impressive. I love what Nick Chubb has brought to the table for the Browns. I think he's just phenomenal, and that was a great draft pick by Dorsey. So I'll give him credit for that one.
And we're building around Nick Chubb too. We're adding that lineman. We're adding Austin Hooper, who's a blocking tight end. Adding Andy Janovich. Remember Lawrence Vickers was the guy that was blocking for Peyton Hillis when he broke out,
which is great. I loved Peyton Hillis' story. I think he got himself stuck in the classic pay me as a running back hole, which is like an NFL thing that's been going on for years and years and years.
Todd Gurley
and there's very few NFL contracts that have actually worked out when you extend a running back and pay him big money. And Todd Gurley's a case.
He messed up the running back market badly.
Devontae Freeman did the same thing.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon should have taken the money he got offered last year, $10 million a year. I mean, it's just tough to pay these running backs.
It only worked out for Le'Veon Bell, really.
So sorry to burst everyone's bubble. When Chubb's contract comes up, it's gonna be a real weird decision if you're gonna pay him or not, because you shouldn't pay running backs.
It's gonna be all incentive based.
You should be. You should be, yeah.
Nick Chubb's probably gonna try to want as much guaranteed as he can, and then the Browns and the front office are trying to push everything incentive.
Yeah, I mean, but
that's gonna be the battle, pretty much from here on out.
It's gonna be a little tricky there. It's gonna be a little tricky.
Who else do you like?
The
pickups.
I like Case Keenum a lot.
We did a lot of 1 year.
So just bear with me for a second here.
I don't like what's coming.
If Case Keenum,
everyone, get ready for one of the stupidest takes you're gonna hear. Not just tonight.
It's not a
stupid
take.
Maybe during the pandemic.
It's not a stupid take.
Your mentality is incorrect here.
If Case Keenum was the Browns starter next year, for whatever reason, whether it be injury or whether it be Stefanski being like Baker's not the guy.
Hey, hold on, guys. Before you finish that, okay, the pandemic has been going on for 3 weeks. That already feels long, but Mike has been talking about this for the last 3 weeks. So imagine what you've gone through, and then times it whatever amount you think this situation adds to it.
Listen, man, that's fake news. Ultimately,
fake news.
Ultimately here, I don't think it'd be the worst thing if Case Keenum started. Now hold on.
No. But out week one.
Week one, is he going to be the starter? No, he will not be the starter week 1. But would it be the worst thing if he was the starter week 1?
Yes. Because Baker Mayfield has had to go through something last year. It was very tough with his confidence and with all the media and drama that we'll say that he did add to himself. But then add that. By the way, this journeyman that we just signed from Minnesota, he's gonna start over you, Baker. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. We're gonna have some kind of Tampa Bay Todd Monken garbage. Then I don't want that.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Baker Mayfield made too many commercials last year?
Oh, definitely. Did he drink too many beers? Yes. Did he cut too many lawns? Oh, yes.
Yes. So I think the interesting thing about Baker this offseason is he lost a good portion of fandom because he had a really bad year and then almost immediately looked like he was weighing 1 billion pounds. And the internet roasted him hard.
Well, that was after he made all these bold statements with those to the Browns. OBJ, oh yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, we're making the playoffs. Oh yeah, the Browns are back. So when you load up all the ammunition, you have to expect to absorb some of that blow that you took, that you gave out.
What did we talk about last year? That bad coaching cannot outweigh great talent. You cannot,
and we saw that last year.
You cannot have that happen. If your coaches do not give you a proper game plan, you're never going to be in that position. One of the crazy things I was researching when we came to the head coach search, I know we got Stefanski, but it was interesting to listen to McDaniels talk about how he runs the Patriots offense, because he was talking about
McCarthy.
He was talking about late in games, Tom Brady, the Super Bowl, playoff runs. When it's down to it and they need a play to get a first down, to get a touchdown, they don't draw up a play that they've called 3 times that year. They draw up the play that they can run in their sleep, that they know exactly when everyone's exiting their cuts, exactly where everyone's supposed to be, and they run that play.
Their favorite plays. They run their favorite plays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think that you're going to see more from the Browns, and something I think that you're going to get from Stefanski, because you're going to have a coach that's not going to call this nonsense on 4th down and 9. They're going to call the proper play that a team is comfortable running, and that's what you're going to get. And so my point here between the Baker and the Case Keenum thing isn't necessarily that one's better than the other. It's that
but Baker is better than Case Keenum. So
yes, Baker has more talent than Case Keenum, but Case Keenum has a longer track record in the NFL of being consistently good. And I want to reference the Minnesota streak he was on. Mm-hmm. Remember when Teddy Bridgewater was getting back and healthy? Mm-hmm. Teddy Bridgewater, who's now making nice money, who's been signed as soon as become available both times when the New Orleans Saints signed him, and then recently he signed with who did he sign with recently? It was Biscuits. I can't remember who he signed with recently. No. Can you please give me a stat check? Anyways, Teddy Bridgewater was behind him. Case Keenum had the second half of the year to go.
The Panthers.
Thank you, the Panthers. And Case Keenum ripped off eight games of absolute brilliance. He passed for almost 2,000 yards in eight games, had 15 touchdowns to four interceptions.
That's 250 yards a game.
Yeah. And they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those 8 games. They went 7-1, and Case Keenum was on fire because
he's consistent.
He consistently puts in the work, and he puts his team in a position to win.
And he
doesn't make boneheaded plays.
And he knows what his team and his coaches expect of him.
Right.
It's a great signing. I totally agree with you.
So I am going to give. I understand Baker's the better talent. He has more of a ceiling. He's the leader that this team knows and loves. But let me ask you this: how much of a hook does Baker have this season? Is it 5 games? Is it 10 games? When at what point, if Baker doesn't perform, do you say, okay, Case, get your butt in there, let's see what can happen? And I wanna make the point of that because Case has always done his work and then made the most of his opportunity. And I will bet you, if he goes in a game, not because of injury, he will not give that position up, and Baker's NFL career with the Browns will be over. That's the kind of pressure.
I don't think it's over if he did subbed out in one game.
No. I think that's the kind of pressure.
It's a reality check.
That's the kind of pressure that's on Baker right now. He has to play his best football of his life and has to bring his A game every day, every game, every practice, every time he's in the Browns facility. He has to put on his best absolute effort. And if not, he knows Case Keenum is waiting behind him, ready to snatch his job.
Well,
Case will have no problem doing that. And I will lose zero sleep over it if Baker doesn't do what he has to do to keep his job.
I think we learned from Baker. I think Baker learned a lot from last season. And I think he understood the value of doing his job and putting in the wood with his head down. That's something that I think he's done the hard wood part. I think he's put in the wood since before coming in the NFL. You can't not put in the wood and walk down the 2 stools. But I think what he learned that was extremely valuable last season is doing that while keeping your head down and not putting a target on your back every game.
That's interesting. You say that because I think you're absolutely right. I think last year he got humbled by all the talk he was saying, and then he learned how much he hates to lose, and now he knows.
We learned that
what kind of elite performance you have to put in every day in order to be great in the NFL.
Right, it's not college. You don't have superior talent to everyone across the league. You can't be way higher than a lot of defensive backs, a lot of linebackers. These are grown men that's been doing this for years, decades multiple years for some.
This is people's money. This is people's daily living. Their job out there is to stop you from doing your job. And they're going to do everything they can within the confines of the game to make sure that next week they can cash that check. If you're making that much money and you want to keep that job, and you know next year is a whole other draft class of 7 rounds of players coming in that can take your job, you have to bring it every single snap, every single play, every single practice. And when Baker got in the NFL and had that great rookie season, he had a taste. He could play in this league, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Last year proved that, and now he really has to make the adjustment and say, okay, how am I going to rebound from this bad year? And
sophomore slump.
It was a sophomore slump on top of a train wreck of a front office,
on top of the own downfalls of drama. And whatever else you want to add there. Injuries.
The Browns finally made adult decisions and put adults in position of authority. And here we are, 2020 Browns, with the most promising team we've had since 1999. And here's what I had a discussion on Twitter.
Did we say that last year, that Mike?
Yeah, it was true last year. It's true this year. It's the same. The last 2 seasons the Browns have played have been the best put together roster since the Browns came back.
Agreed.
And it's just factual. I was having this discussion the other day with someone on Twitter because they were like, no more, I'm not renewing my season tickets. I've done so the last 20 years, but not this year. And I was like, okay.
Jay Delhomme has been your quarterback.
I was like,
not Cedric Wallace.
There was seasons you should have not renewed. I'm telling you, there's probably 4 seasons since 1999 where you should have had Browns tickets. You can have them the first season, that's justified. You can have them 2002 when they went to the playoffs, justified. You can have them in 2014
with Brian Hoyer. 7-1,
justified. You can have them this past year, absolutely justified. And you can have them this current year, justified. There was a season in there where you had like Peyton Hillis and you had 2010 maybe. 2011. It was an interesting team that they flopped hard. It was the Eric Mangini like last year with his coaching deal where they should have been better than they were.
And they should have extended him too.
They didn't extend him. It was really costly because Eric Mangini is an absolute
he's a good coach.
brilliant really football
is.
Mind.
If you've ever seen him on First Things First, you know firsthand.
But I'm fully endorsing people having Browns season tickets this year. It totally makes it worth it. I completely think it's worth it. I think this is the best Browns roster that you've fielded since '99.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those seasons. One of the top
we haven't even drafted yet.
It's one of the top 5 seasons in the past 20 years. We can viably say, okay, it made sense to buy season tickets. There's enough there from a holistic standpoint that it made sense. There's value in it. There's potential. There's so much potential.
It's April 1st, and I am fully hyped for the Browns. And
do you think the NFL will?
It's not an April Fool's joke.
We'll start on. It's
on
not
time.
It's not April 1st, right? It's tomorrow.
It's April 1st. We're recording on the 30th, but it's April 1st when you're listening to this podcast.
Do you think the NFL will begin on its regular start time?
No, and that's fine because that makes it even easier for the Browns to make it. It's great. We're gonna play division games. We're gonna beat the Bengals. We're gonna beat the Steelers, and we're probably gonna split with the Ravens. Like it just is what it is. Ben Roethlisberger's washed up. Lamar Jackson, we have his number, and the Bengals are gonna be bad with a Joe Burrow tinge to them.
I think.
Hold on. Before I go too far, if Joe Burrow pulls an Eli Manning and it's like, I don't want to play for y'all. Like, would that be the most
Cincinnati
thing ever?
Yeah.
I mean, Vontaze Burfict would come out of. He's not retired. He would
Suspension?
leave. He would
banned
leave
from the NFL, right?
He would leave whatever place he's at to come hang out in Cincinnati just to be part of that absolute crap show. If you have Joe Burrow available, you draft him, and he says he doesn't want to play for you.
I think he's banned from the NFL for life.
I don't know.
Probably in the MMA.
Burfict's a total nut job. Just like what's the other guy, the safety who no one liked.
Josh Norman.
No, not Norman. He signed somewhere else this year.
Keep a lead. It's not to change.
No. He was with the Bengals. He's a real jerk.
I don't know.
I can't remember his name now.
But I think
he always fought people. He just always got in trouble. He's always in airports, like yelling at people and shit.
I think the Baltimore Ravens, and if you're a Baltimore fan, listen to this. I do not apologize. It's gonna happen. But I think I have a strong gut feeling that this Baltimore Ravens team, this Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, Baltimore John Harbaugh team, is going to be like the 2014 from 2014 to 2018, the Atlanta Hawks and Toronto Raptors. They have so much potential, they have so much regular season success, and then it's going to flop every year in the playoffs.
I personally love it. I think that's
I can't wait for that to happen.
It's like Andy Dalton in the first round of the playoffs. So you're not going to go anywhere. Like, every time you step up to the plate, you still have Andy Dalton. I mean, not saying Lamar Jackson isn't good. He won the MVP. Give him credit. But
very talented, yes.
I think the book is out on the Ravens. I think there's enough film that you can beat them, and there's enough that you can do to slow them down. They also lost Brockers. They signed Brockers from the Rams, and then the deal fell through, which is great for Browns fans. So ultimately, I think they're going anywhere. I think the Ravens are a very talented team, but I'm going to say that they're not gonna win anything.
Yeah, I think that it's gonna be one of those super performing teams in the regular season, and then I said it's dead flop.
Let me ask you one more question. Do you think Lamar Jackson is the RG3 of the modern NFL?
No, I think he's like Russell Westbrook. I think he's absolutely excellent in the regular season, but when it comes time to playoff that professional sport, the playoff basketball, playoff football for Lamar Jackson, I don't think his game fits more in that gritty style of play. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that Russell Westbrook was bad in the playoffs. I think Russell Westbrook is a triple-double getter, and he hunts triple-doubles, but I don't think that he's a...
No, he's he hasn't figured out how to change for Westbrook. He hasn't figured out change of pace and how much value you can have in being that calm and having that calm demeanor. And I think Lamar Jackson's gonna be the same way. Well, he can have a calm demeanor, and he has to be a quarterback, let alone an MVP in the league. But I just don't think it's going to translate into playoff wins.
I'll tell you something. I don't think the Ravens scare me at all. They just don't scare me. It's like I like Lamar Jackson. I am
Pacers,
very scared of what Patrick Mahomes can do against any football team. But Lamar Jackson doesn't scare me. Lamar Jackson doesn't scare me because I know we can beat him. Once I've beaten you, you no longer scare me. Like, you no longer have the ability to make me worry about you.
Well, I think beating is different from absolutely destroying, which is what the Browns did first time around.
Yeah. And so I'm no longer scared of Lamar Jackson because we beat them and we showed that we can stop their offense.
I think our team fits. Is a valid. It doesn't really. It's not a good matchup at all for Baltimore.
We're not.
I think there's some really good teams that Baltimore really has an edge on with how it's the roster is made up. But I don't think the Browns are one of those teams. I think what the Browns were lacking was that composure from that coaching standpoint. And I think, unlike last year, we're going to have this year. I think early on the year, the Baltimore was still getting ready. They're still figuring things out. But I don't think the lack of coaching was evident that early in the season, because for the first few weeks of the NFL season, it's all figuring things out.
You're absolutely. The first several weeks of the NFL season are absolute garbage, and everyone can tell you that because you never know who's going to win, and you can catch some teams by surprise.
Schemes, completely different roster breakdowns, the whole nine.
You gotta look at what the teams look like during week 5 and week 6. Those are the weeks that you're actually going to get something and figure out what a team's capable of. Just because the first couple weeks is a lot of figuring out, and everyone's super healthy. And
hyped and yeah,
it's hype. It's different type of football. Teams that keep it consistent. That's the teams that win the Super Bowl, and teams who have amazing players like the Chiefs. So
it's slowly figuring out week to week,
just methodically. Just.
I have one more thing to add, football wise. I think I want to go back to Case Keenum and Kevin Stefanski real quick. I wanted to see if you thought that up until now in his NFL, has Kevin Stefanski, his offense has been catered to game managing quarterbacks. You see Case Keenum, you see Kirk Cousins. You think that him adding Kevin Stefanski bringing over his game managing quarterback system into a non-game managing quarterback, I think that's the value that Case Keenum brings too, because we know Baker's overall potential, but can he do the time management quarterback aspect of the job to really kick this offense into where it needs to go?
Here's something to back up my earlier point about Baker Mayfield. So remember how Bridgewater was their quarterback in Minnesota, and he wasn't really much of a game manager. He was a high performing quarterback, really trending high his early seasons before his injury. And I'd like to remind you that they didn't re-sign him. They didn't pick him back up. And I think that's a real possibility.
Teddy?
Teddy. They didn't re-sign Teddy. And I think it's a real possibility that they could do the same thing with Baker. That's all I'm saying. But I don't think they cater to the game managing quarterback. I really don't. I think it comes down to what Stefanski's offense just has a different maturity to it, where he understands the importance of the pass game, but he uses the run game to set up the pass game, which is wonderful, because when you have a roster that's stacked like the Browns is, and you have two outstanding running backs in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, you want to be a run first team. And in the AFC North, as everyone likes, you want to have an aggressive run attack. I mean, Mack and Biner. This is what the kind of football hard-nosed in your face, jam it down your throat.
Cleveland football.
From
back in the day.
Yeah.
Cleveland football that everyone, or the fans that knew Cleveland football when it was good, knew.
Yeah, we want an aggressive style of football. Absolutely.
That's Cleveland. That's a gritty mentality, right? Everything. That's us. Everything's earned, but we have that blue collar mentality about us. We have that chip on our shoulder from when we come from Cleveland. That's why we like. That's why everyone embraced Baker the way they did.
So you look at the history real quick of the Vikings. Brett Favre, Christian Ponder, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Bradford for a year in 2016. That was interesting. And then Keenum came in when Bradford went down. Ooh. And then Cousins. So no, they don't cater to game managing quarterbacks. Sam Bradford is not a game manager. Never was.
Okay,
a game
but
manager.
He was injured for a while.
Teddy Bridgewater was never a game manager.
It brought down his skill and maybe his confidence down to more of a game managing expectation.
Sam Bradford couldn't stay healthy at the end of his
standpoint.
career.
Yeah,
which is fine. That's what Keenum was in there for. But ultimately,
which one of those quarterbacks, when they're healthy or like during that stretch, consistently would elite quarterbacks? Cousins is probably the most.
Cousins, yeah. And then Brett Favre when he took the team to the Super Bowl and didn't win it. No,
you mean Sam Bradford?
Brett Favre was the Super Bowl.
I'm saying under Stefanski.
Didn't he go to Super? It was an NFC title.
I'm saying under Stefanski. That's the discussion here.
He had Stefanski, who's been with the Vikings for a very long time. He was Kevin Stefanski.
Well, then he hasn't coached. Besides Favre, if he did, plus Kirk Cousins most of his career. Those are the outliers on both sides of the spectrum.
He's been with the Vikings since 2006, bro. So he absolutely was there with Brett Favre. He ran the offense. Right. He was offensive coordinator in 19. He was the quarterbacks coach in 2017, 2018. He was the assistant quarterback coach in 2009, 2013, and the assistant to the head coach in 2006, 2008. So ultimately, Stefanski was with the team when Brett Favre was there. We should call Brett Favre and see what he has to say about Stefanski, and think if he's a game managing, likes game managing quarterbacks or not. That's what we'll do. You and I should call Brett Favre, and we'll just confirm our thoughts and just bounce a couple things off of him. Okay, sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Okay, so to wrap things up here, we do have a couple of questions from the Twitter page, man. From the Twitter sphere. Appreciate all those people who responded and gave us some.
We have a few on Facebook, I believe, too.
Okay, so those of you guys who know, we are big time Colin Sexton fans, and so H. Michael here asked us, where do you see Sexton's potential in the next 5 years? I see Sexton's potential in the next 5 years.
Hold on. Answer the question. It's Colin Sexton's potential. And Colin Sexton's potential is going to be the same as it is right now and as in 5 years. Because it's potential.
Potentially, he's going to be a Super Six man. Very excited for him. Very, very. Or he'll be the Wizards' starting point guard and our shooting guard, and that could happen because
this basically without
or the Knicks. He could play. He could play for the Knicks and be just a great Knicks player and go absolutely nowhere with his career, which is probably what you would do with the Knicks. Not to say that Colin Sexton isn't a good basketball player, because he is. He's a very good basketball player, but Colin Sexton is not going to win you basketball games.
To put that more politely and to hurt less feelings, Colin Sexton. His ceiling, to answer your question a little bit with his potential, we think his ceiling is like a mid-level starter or a really good scorer on a bad team. Or he can be very valuable to a good team and come off the bench. Everything that he does well and everything that people keep on continuing to push and say, oh, this is why Colin Sexton's going to be a star, all this stuff, is why he's going to be and make a great six-man.
Absolutely.
High-volume scorer, can get hot quick. Very efficient. He's getting inside the paint, open shots. He can score. He can be like J.B. Bickerstaff said. He can wake up and drop 20 points. But what he doesn't do well is make players better. Is a good defender. is a good rebounder, can make the extra pass to the open guy. All these little things, not anything above high or like average basketball IQ. These are all things that are pushing him towards a future off the bench. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to know that every player doesn't have a super high ceiling. Every player does not have LeBron James potential, or Zion, or John Moran, something like that. Trae Young.
Here's my thing. The NBA is getting taller. The NBA is getting more positionless. And
more versatile.
And more versatile. And in an NBA that's doing that, you cannot afford to have multiple players that are shorter and at a disadvantage height-wise.
Off the defensive end. One example I'll add to what your point
You get to choose one player. You can have Garland or you can have Sexton. You cannot have both. And just so everyone's reminded, the Cavs said everyone was on the trade block outside of Garland and presumably Kevin Porter Jr. before the trade deadline. So the Cavs themselves understand you can have one. You cannot have both. They cannot coexist in a lineup in today's NBA and play game-winning basketball night in and night out.
To add to your point, as an example, remember Isaiah Thomas with the Boston Celtics. Yes, he had an injury, but he was dominant. But he was also they were winning a lot of games, but there was only one of them, right? He's what, 5'9", right? Correct?
The Cavs killed him in the playoffs.
The rest of the lineup was tall.
I don't want to hear about his injury, but the Cavs killed him in the playoffs, and he was going to get killed. Even
outside,
regardless,
even outside of his injury, you would have to imagine a drop off with the way the NBA has been going with, like you said, becoming more positionless, becoming more versatile, becoming more taller and athletic. That he's going to be pushed out, and instead of having that MVP season that he had, he was going to be dropped off more to that mid-level starter, where you're either a very good scorer on a bad team, or you can contribute a whole lot off the bench on a good team.
Isaiah Thomas did two things that Colin Sexton does not. Isaiah Thomas was an excellent passer at times.
Excellent passer.
And Isaiah Thomas also took a ton of bad shots, but he hit them. And when he stopped hitting them, he became a lot less valuable. Isaiah Thomas would take shots that were absolutely awful. Contested,
but superstars take.
Off balance,
the shots that
nonsense shots. Yeah. But he hit them for a whole season. And so, they thought he was a superstar, and he wasn't. But that's okay. And that's okay that Colin Sexton is never going to be a superstar. And that's not the discussion point. But I appreciate the question. I really do, Michael. Michael. Second question here, second and last question here, is Carson K1012 asks, why haven't the Browns re-signed Hollywood Higgins?
I think it hasn't been exactly a priority right now, but did they put a tender on him?
No, he's available. He's out there, man.
But I think
Falcons about to sign him.
This is one of the last moves I think John Dorsey did. I think it might have been combination of Kitchens and Dorsey, but I think once Dorsey realized that Freddie Kitchens didn't like Higgins and they wasn't gonna consistently use him, I think he packed him away off the not even on the active roster come game day for most of the season, at least the back half, in order to lower his value and be able to sign him at a lower price or be able to compete for him to sign him. So I think so far Andrew Bailey has been weighing his market a little bit and seeing what his value is, and I think this next round, next couple of weeks here, we're gonna see either he's gonna be done with him or he's gonna try to re-sign him.
I like that idea. I'll tell you why I think he hasn't been re-signed. He has not been re-signed because the upcoming wide receiver draft class is said to be the best wide receiver draft class in the last 20 years. So if you can believe that, why would I overpay a third string wide receiver when I could potentially get a top tier wide receiver talent somewhere in the mid rounds.
For low
that'll cost me a lot less money, and I'll have under control for a lot longer. It just doesn't make sense. So,
which I think even diminishes the value even more.
Let me ask you, Browns fans, to do something tough here. It's gonna be tough. So you've been a bad franchise for a long time, right? And we're loyal fans. We support the players. We back the guys. We're watching every Sunday. We hope for the best, even when it's evident it's not going to be the best outcome.
Is this a Joe Schobert question?
No, I'm asking you to understand that you're going to lose fan favorites, underdogs, middle tier and lower tier players over the next 3 to 5 years. You might even lose some bigger players. But what you have to understand, in order to be a good franchise, in order to be a winning franchise, in order to compete for Super Bowls, sacrifices must be made, and you can't hold on to players that are third and second tier players. You have to understand that there's going to be sacrifices, and you're going to lose players
and you can't
that you like.
For them either.
You can't overpay, absolutely.
Joe Schobert, Christian Tootsie, this year alone. And Damaris Randall.
And it could very well be Higgins too. So just understand that you're going to lose players along the way. We're not in the business of signing middle, bottom of the barrel talent. We're in the business of winning a Super Bowl, and that's what you think every single day when you come in the office. Andrew Berry does, and that's what the players have to come to the office with.
Needs to.
Absolutely. So don't get upset if you don't re-sign Higgins. We liked him. He had some big plays for us. He was a great fit. I'll be happy to have him back. We'll love that we bring him back. But you cannot lose sleep over third and bottom tier players.
I think one of the things I enjoy most about sports, and a lot of Cleveland fans didn't really enjoy, is all the stuff outside of the stat sheet from these players, their character, their work ethic, and stuff like that. And that's why we build that connection with these players. And yeah, we'll definitely, if they do leave, we'll thank them for the time here and what they contributed, all the effort from an entire whole standpoint. But ultimately, like you said, it's about winning. It's a business.
Yeah.
And we're here to win.
Absolutely, we're here to win. And just remember that it's fun. We enjoy it. We love the players. But as a fan, I wake up every morning and I want to win games. And I want to watch my team win. And some people say, "Oh, I want it to be a competitive game. Oh, I hope that they're in it." No. I wake up every single morning when it's game day, and I'm expecting the win, and I want the win, and that's what I'm looking for. And anything less than that is not acceptable, and it's something that I go back to the drawing board, and you gotta get better. But I'm saying I don't, and I will not accept mediocrity on this Browns team, especially with how good they are. Will not accept it. So I hope everyone takes that piece of it and understands that we're entering a new era of football where you have to expect excellent play from every position, 1 through 53. We need excellent play, and if you're not going to do that, you need to find someone else to play football.
Well, we're building a culture.
100%.
We're building a winning culture because we haven't seen it. So these players, the coaches and stuff, and the front office are building it from the ground up, and that's why our fandom's a little different. But if you're a Cavs fan, you remember after LeBron came back, 2014, you expect winning because you know what you have in place. What you have in place from the player standpoint and from a coaching standpoint. And Dan Dover knew from an organizational standpoint that we need to be serious about winning and take the necessary steps, regardless of sometimes hurt feelings.
We got a sleeping giant here in Cleveland with the Browns.
It's time to wake him up.
It's time to wake him up.
We got
ready to roll. Ooh. I hope everybody...
Gives me chills. Say it again.
We have a sleeping giant in Cleveland.
slow down.
We have a sleeping giant in Cleveland.
Ooh.
And we're ready to wake him up. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate...
No, we have 2 more questions.
You have more questions?
Facebook.
How many more questions do you possibly have?
We got Facebook.
We do have Facebook.
Yeah, we do.
We have Facebook. We have Facebook.
Jeff Gilbert does a 2-parter. Does he wants to hear more from us. So
all right, Mr. Gilbert.
What's a realistic record for the Browns this upcoming season? And then the second part is, can the Cavs be a playoff team next year?
Okay, so I'm gonna take the Cavs playoff one.
I'll take the Browns.
You can take the Browns one. Go ahead, give me the Browns info.
The Browns. I want to say I'm gonna do the same prediction I did this past year, which is very upsetting after you hear it come into my mouth right just now. 13-3 was what I did last year. I gave us 11-5 from a bad like if we had a bad year.
I'm gonna unfollow you on Twitter too.
13-13. We just spoke about what we're expecting to win, and that's what I'm expecting with our record. 13-3.
I'm expecting Baker to have a Kirk Cousins type seasons where he's going to go 30-10, and
I think
so. If that's the case, I'm expecting 11-5. 11-5 is where I want to be.
I'll say 12-4.
11-5 would be nice.
12-4, 13-3.
I don't know what the schedule is yet though. So
I think,
and if we have less games, cool.
I think
more
what you
players.
mentioned with Case Keenum, I think he'll learn those damaging traits from being around Kirk Cousins. I don't think it's gonna take
from Kirk
Cousins. I think
you think Baker's gonna learn from Case Keenum.
I think he's gonna learn those.
He's gonna rub off on Baker.
Quarterback, game managing quarterback traits from Case Keenum, not just being around him every day. I don't think it's gonna take being pulled from the game or from the lineup to do that.
Baker's gonna learn some nuances and some little things that he didn't know before. Yeah. You're gonna keep learning.
You're 3.
I'm with it. I'll take your Cavs question because this is what's interesting to me. The Cavs next year will be a 7th or 8th seed playoff. Here's why. I'm gonna throw a scenario out there. Recently happened that Brooklyn said they're looking for a star to add to their team. I'll take Chris LeVert for Kevin Love. And
straight up,
and Dinwiddie, and I'll throw you a pick or something. Sounds like a great deal. Give me Dinwiddie. Give me
how
LeVert.
Many guards do you have then? Then Stetson has to go. Then Garland has to go. One of the two has to go.
That's fine. Because Chris LeVert.
Would you package Colin Stetson with Kevin Love?
Chris LeVert is the guy I want on my team.
And Dinwiddie.
Who would I package?
Kevin Love and Colin Sexton to go get Dinwiddie and LeVert from Brooklyn.
No, because I think Colin Sexton's worth more now. I think he upped his trade value this last season.
Do you know who Spencer Dinwiddie is?
Yeah,
he's one of the top 2.
He's a little older than I would like.
He's men in the league.
He's more ball dominant than I would like in my team.
But off the bench.
No, because he's commanding a starting role at this point in his career. He's proven he could be a starter somewhere.
But he's been a sixth man until Kyrie went down.
He's proven he can be a starter at somewhere league. Will he be better than Joe Johnson type of deal? Is it a Joe Johnson type of year for him? I don't know. But I'm saying the Cavs will go trade Kevin Love in the offseason, which is great. And then they're going to have Andre Drummond this next season, and up until trade deadline, they're going to trade him. And then
disagree with that.
Oh, I 100% think it's going to happen because some team's going to want to unload $30K in cap, and the Cavs will take on bad contracts. And then Kevin Porter Jr. is going to start next year. Hallelujah. And Dylan Windler is going to play, which is going to be wonderful. And then the Cavs are going to have another draft pick. Whether they get someone worthwhile or not, we'll see. So the Cavs are going to actually have a good coach in JB Bickerstaff. They're going to have a solid roster that'll get you to a 6th or 8th seed. They're going to make the playoffs. And it's gonna be fun in Cleveland. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm ready. I already got my season tickets, bro.
I don't think we have to go that far to evaluate if the Cavs are a playoff team. I think you take the Cavs post trade deadline this year, and if the Cavs this year started with that team at the beginning of the year, I think that's a playoff team. I just
want to start Larry Nance.
I want to put him at 3. Well, think about that stretch for a minute. We were in the lineup of Darius Garland, Kevin Porter. I know it's a while ago, guys, but think about it. Before Darius Garland went down, we won games against 76ers, the Heat,
and the Nuggets,
and Nuggets. Oh, and the Spurs. And we won 4 out of 5 of those teams. And the closing lineup was Darius Garland, KP, Larry Nance, Kevin Love, and Andre Drummond. That's a big lineup.
No, Drummond was in there.
No, I'm saying to close, not to start.
No, Thompson was in there. It was
Thompson. Okay,
it was Thompson. Yeah. It was Thompson, Love,
Nance,
Kevin, and Garland.
Because he's just in the foul trouble. That's why they had Andre Drummond out. But I think you can still
substitute. Plus, he couldn't play the same pace they were playing.
Drummond in there, yeah.
They're gonna be much better. I'm excited. I'm
healthy.
I'm in on them being better. I'm in on Kevin Porter Jr. being a potential superstar.
I'm ready for Delly to be gone. I'm ready to figure out this.
They're gonna re-sign Delly for a really small contract.
Yeah, we are.
He earned himself a contract at the end of the year, and I'm impressed with him. I gotta love it. I was here for it. And he dropped 14 assists. I was like, that's the Delly train. There we go.
$40 million right there. There, Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, he justified his whole contract in the last 20 games.
He played his butt off.
He played great. I gotta give him credit for that.
I think he's really down. I agree. He's going
to earn himself a small contract, man.
Like a vet minimum, a little bit more, maybe a couple mil. And then I think he's going to grow him Garland because
it's great,
when he's healthy and when he's playing aggressive, I think we can see what he can do with KP. And I think Drummond's really going to benefit. I really think he does. He will.
Drummond's an interesting thing to me because I just don't want them to sign him long term.
I think we will. I
think definitely shouldn't.
I don't think this is similar to my football free agency thing. I think he's not going to have nearly. I think he's going to accept the $28 million play option because why wouldn't you? Because no one else is going to pay you that. And then I think the market is not going to be there for him come free agency time, come 2021. And when we can't land a Giannis Antetokounmpo, and other players start falling off and realize that some of the other players aren't going to have the market or the cap space because there's a lot of stars coming out in 2021 that Andre Drummond is going to be left out in the dust to sign a decent contract for long term with or maybe 3+1 with the Cavs. And when I give him,
you better stop shooting threes.
We're going to give him 18 to 22 million for 3 or 4 years, and we're going to have a true center for the first time since Big Z.
If he doesn't stop shooting threes, I'm going to lose it.
Okay, on a good team, you don't shoot those threes. On a good team, on a playoff team, your coach says, hey, we're trying to make the playoffs. Don't shoot those threes. When you're not trying to make the playoffs, you say, hey, man, work on your game. It's cool. Hey, man, work on your game. You just got here. We want to show you the cool vibe we got going on in Cleveland. That we're not as bad as...
He's like, check out the flats. Check out East 4th Street.
And that's about it.
We got the 9. Like
check out Potato Gardens. like we're showing them a good time. We're showing them about what we're about. But when we get serious, we're gonna tighten the grip.
That's right, man. Cleveland, it's not Detroit.
And then at least we're not Detroit. And then last.
You have another question?
Yeah. I said we had 2, and then the one was a 2-parter.
I'm so sick of your questions. What's the second question?
You heard that, guys. Stop giving us questions. Mike does not want to answer them. But on a more real note, give us more questions because I will answer all of them. Thomas Rothwell is the last question. And it's a Lindor question. A little bit of baseball.
I'm done talking about Lindor.
If Lindor leaves in free agency, as everyone expects, who are some stars of the future Indians playing for the team in now or in the minors that could replace him?
All right, Thomas, I can't tell you how wrong you are to start.
There's nobody that can replace him currently.
First of all, no one's going to replace Lindor. Second of all, he's not going to leave in free agency. They're going to trade him. Like, Lindor is good as traded. Like, if the start of if this season goes poorly, like midway, Lindor is gone.
If Betts was traded, which he was, then Lindor will be.
He's not going to hang on to this roster. The Indians basically said that we don't value enough.
Enjoy him.
They try to do a little tricky little move by offering him like some like weird structured contract to like give him flexibility, and it didn't work. Jason Lloyd actually wrote a really cool article about Lindor and the whole situation. Mm-hmm. And he asked Lindor if the offer was $200 million. And basically, like,
and he can't avoid
in more or less words, he said no, which is crazy to me because, like,
why wouldn't you offer?
You couldn't even at least get that $200 million, like, whatever. But it's possible to do it. You could win it. You could win a title without your best guy. I mean, look at the
lifetime contract.
Look at the
is this cable TV?
Look at how the Bryce Harper thing turned out. That worked out for the Nationals.
We're not going to lose him for nothing. That's what it comes down to.
You gotta stack, dude. The Indians have a really stacked farm system right now. They actually have one of the best farm systems they've had in the last like 5 or 6 years here. It's very stacked, but it's about 2-3 years away from actually coming to fruition. So if you can flip Lindor for some more top prospects, you're gonna give yourself more leverage to make this roster go farther, and then really Franmil Reyes and Jose. Jose Ramirez end up taking your spotlight for the Indians,
For
as well as Shane Bieber and Mike Clevenger being your top 2 pitchers. Also, how dumb does it look now that you don't have Kluber? In a year, you could probably still compete.
I'm not going to answer the question. You don't need to.
We're going to answer the question on the next podcast episode. But we're going to wrap this thing up. Want to let everyone know we do appreciate you guys following us on all the social media. We have a lot of fun with you guys on a daily basis with the comments and the questions, and then just having some good sports discussions, especially during this time where things are a little bit crazy. Make sure that you're staying inside, you're keeping your social distancing. I've seen some people out there not quite doing it. It's a bad look.
Kind of still being a little bit jokey with it.
Call them out. Don't let them be nonsense. There's some really scary stuff out there in terms of how serious this is, and I want everyone to take it seriously.
You follow the right procedures, follow the right hygiene practices, sanitize and all that stuff, and the necessary requirements you need to do to protect and keep your family safe. You and your family safe.
This is the thing when it comes to this whole thing. Is I want people to know that even if you're a healthy young person and you don't believe you're going to be affected by this, even if you get it, it's not going to come out. Yeah,
it's affected us the last couple of
weeks. You have
right?
to care about the people that are more at risk. Your parents, the people in your extended family, the people that are older in your life that are more susceptible to these types of things. Those are the people that you're staying in the house for. If you're a young person and you're staying in the house and you're practicing your social distancing, you're doing a great job.
Great service.
Saying that you care about those other people in your life. It's a very selfless act to continue to follow these rules and continue to keep that social distancing and keeping
take those precautions
with these precautions. Really a great job and very commendable by everyone who's taking it seriously.
And continue to do so.
Absolutely. So we're going to continue to have these fantastic podcasts where we get to talk all about sports and how Case Keenum is going to start for the Browns.
And take your mind off the quarantine.
Absolutely. And every time we want to talk poorly about Colin Sexton, we'll be here for you. Or every time you want to talk about how Joe Schobert didn't need to be resigned, we'll be here for you. Just a reminder. We all have new episodes on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So keep a look for us. We're on the Apple Podcast. We're on the Google Podcast. We're on any place you can pretty much get your podcast.
And if you can't find us, just reach out to us. We'll be sure to figure it out for you.
And like Tim has proven today, if you ask him a question, we will answer it. So keep asking us the questions, and I'll next time I'll be more enthusiastic around the questions. Yeah, I'll be more enthusiastic.
We got a happy Mike.
I'll give it my hardest try. We do appreciate it though. So wrapping things up, this is the Everything Is Earned podcast. I'm your host, Mike.
I am Tim, your co-host.
Yeah.
And all of your co-hosts.
And in Cleveland, remember that everything is earned.
Dun, 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 dun. Cue the music. Right now.